Hi everyone, George here. You thought I'd cut the music, didn't you? But I didn't. Kind of reminds me of the movie with Clint Eastwood about the invasion in Grenada, where he woke up and with a new T-shirt every day, and he expected his troops to uh, coincide with them with the type of T-shirt he was wearing. Anywho, today what I'd like to bring to you is the 5 rules that I wish I knew from the get-go. And you might know these rules already. Some of them I've covered before in a different light, but I came to the realization after playing 2.5, 3 years worth of Advanced Squad Leader now that these rules were indispensable to know from the get-go. Okay, so um, having said that, I am expecting my son back from football practice. Speaking of football, I picked up this beautiful sweatshirt from a store on Saint Denis in Montreal called Le 90 because it has clothes from the 90s up, and they're beautiful clothes. I got a beautiful welcome when I walked into the store. I wasn't treated like a welfare case or homeless person, let's say, because often that's the feeling I get. And the clothes were clean right off the shelf. Wow, well done. So I am expecting my son, so the doorbell might ring. And I do have a special guest with you, my good friend Barack. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I have Barack Obama. No, he's not an American. He is Canadian, and he does have the birth certificate to prove it. Okay, so let's say hello to Barack. From Burnaby, BC, by the way. Barack.
Hello?
So that was my son, a little pause. He came home, he's safe and sound. So sorry for the interruption, Barack. Let's say hello one more time.
Hello?
Hi there, Barack. Welcome to the channel. I'm sure you're going to find this topic pretty interesting. All right, Barack is a shy guy. Like I said before, he's not Barack from the United States. He's Barack from Burnaby, BC. Shout out to the West Coast of Canada, of course. And on with the remainder of the show. 5 rules that I wish I knew from the get-go. And the first one is 8.2. What does 8.2 means? It means if you make a mistake, you have to live with it. Misinterpretation of the rules. Now, a mistake that I make often, and not with my Tuesday night opponent, Alain Chabot, is I tend to give him French light machine guns. So what's the difference between a French light machine gun and a German light machine gun? First of all, we got a little parenthesis F, meaning français. Ouh là là, quel bordel. Mon mitrailleuse, ça va briser sur un 11 au lieu de 12. Meaning, my machine gun will break on 11 instead of 12. I'm not too sure if I said that correctly, but hey, it is what it is. I've made that mistake so often that poor Alain, with the last time we were playing Back to the Beaches 1, he thought that I inadvertently gave him the wrong machine guns and he changed them for German. Yeah, and then he looks at the scenario card and realizes that they were supposed to be French, but hey, don't matter. Having fun with the Alain Tuesday night? Knock on wood. We're all good. Uh, tonight's beverage is uh, tea. Uh, Earl Grey tea with, of course, sweet and low. Too hot. Alrighty then. So, dot 2, errors. 7.212, target selection limits. So here we have a scenario where target selection limits can arise, and the other scenario is the sleaze freeze, the so-called sleaze freeze, but we spoke about that in another video. So in this case, we have a berserk unit. It's their movement phase, and the first thing they're asked to move is the berserker. So let's do it. One to there, and it's not assault move. So this fellow here, Staller, with his LMG and 4.67, he has the option of firing now. at 12 down 4, -2 for the leadership DRM, -1 for first fire moving in the open, and -1 for first fire non-assault movement, -4. 12 down 4. So he decides to take the shot. 11. They don't cower. No, that's 10. 10 down 4 is 6. 6 on the 12. It's still a crappy shot. 6 on the 12 is a 2 morale check. Rolls for morale check. 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. His morale, because he's Berserk, is 10. They make it 12. 6 residuals. Laid down. He first fired. He did not cower because it's leader directed. In he goes for 2-3. Boom. Now he can final fire a triple and half. Triple and half. 7 times 3 is 21, and half of 21 is 10.5. There is no 10.5 on the good old infantry fire chart. There is an 8, so now it will be an 8, plus 3 for the building, -2 for the leader, and -1 for non-assault movement. Makes it an 8 even shot. Let's roll again. 10. Miss. He final fired, and he can final protect the fire, but that would be a morale check. So now he's stuck, and they're in CC. Not melee, but CC. What does that mean to him? Now, notice there are no other supporting units around this fellow, so Gregorov can now go 1, 2, 3 to there, and this fellow can go 1 or 1, 2, or 1 in bypass along here, and 2. Guys, start using bypass movement to the best of your advantage. You'll get further with bypass. And he couldn't do diddly. Staller couldn't do diddly because he has an enemy unit in his hex, and since he has an enemy unit in his hex, he cannot fire any further. So that's Alpha 7, 2, 1, 2. Target selection limits. Now, there goes the defensive fire phase, there goes the movement phase, and the defensive fire phase, and we come to advancing fire. Now, this fellow could probably fire group with these guys, but they choose not to. These guys are going to fire here at 8 up 3. It's doubled and halved, doubled for being point blank and halved because they're firing in the advancing fire phase. We're going to put an advancing fire phase thingy, and they choose not to fire the machine gun. So 12 up 3 to there. 8 up 3. So 6 plus 3 is a 9 on the 8 table, which is a pentastic. Question is, who does that fire affect? Does it affect the Berserk unit and the Germans, or just the Germans? And according to 7.4 target determination, it's only the German players at this time. Why? Because according to 7.4, let's open the book. And I'm not going to read the entire rule, but in talking about who the fire affects, it is that does not have to specify a particular target with the outcome of such fire affecting all those enemy or melee units in the target location, except those which the LOF is blocked, such as being entrenched behind the wall. Therefore, in this particular fire phase, the Berserk units would not be affected by the Pintas check, but Staller would be, which he passes, and the 467, he also passes because we are using the Staller's leadership DRM. Neither of them are pinned. But note that this could also set off a sniper check, conceivably. So this might sound like schoolwork to you, eh?
Damn, I'm late for class.
Barack, don't worry. It's not class time. Don't get any PTSD from the high school days or the college days now on me, all right? Stay tuned. I think you'll grasp this eventually. Same goes for me, by the way. All right, so we talked about errors, target selection limits, target determination. Let's follow through on this example. So advancing fire phase. Oh, let's fire this fellow too, a triple and half. Triple because they're in the same hex, and half because it's in the advancing fire phase. So these guys advance fired. So 6 times 3 is 18. Halved is 9. Goes down to 8 up 3. Let's do it. 5 plus 3 is 8. Normal morale check. Pass. Ooh, he failed. I think he failed. Yeah. 10 minus 2 is 8. So this dude failed. Anyways, let's for the sake of this example, let's say everybody survived the fire. Okay, we go to route phase. Nobody's routing. Remove all prep and depth fire and residuals. Okay, they're still in close combat. Advanced phase, they choose not to advance. Now they have to go for ambush, and the Russian player rolls first with a +1 because he's to his DRM because he is not in good order. Berserk. 3, that's 4, and Staller gets a -2 to his dice roll. 5 minus 2 is 3. There is no ambush. Now they're in melee. Flip. And Staller will fire on the Berserk unit at 1 to 2, and the Berserk unit fires back at 1 to 1. So let's do the Russian player first. 5 on the 1 to 1. 5 on the 1 to 1 is a casualty reduction, and leader, the Germans fire back with a -2 to their DRM. Whoa. So the Germans effectively did nothing. Random selection between the unit and the and Staller to see who gets casualty reduced. 1, 2. He gets wounded. Wound check. He makes it. Now they're in melee.
Hello?
Take it easy, Barrack. I'm here. I haven't left. Okay, so now they're in melee. Along comes their defensive fire phase. If they fire into this hex now, it'll affect the Russian unit and the the German units. Okay, let's just do that for the sake of an example. 8 up 3. Missed. The other thing that could have happened was the German leader could have opted for deliberate capture. Okay, and if he captured them, like so, and this should be a bigger unit. There you go, captured. They fire in there. The fire will affect the prisoners as well. So any units in melee or prisoners will get affected by friendly fire. Let's do an 8 up 3 again. That's a cower, so it's a 9 on the 6 table, which is no effect. So that's basically it there. Now let's turn to another board and talk about AFVs. Kind of slightly here. All right, so the question is, there are 2 units here. One is in 4Q7. The other one is in 4P6 and bypass along this hex side. Now, you might argue that there isn't enough space here for vehicular bypass, but for the sake of this example, it serves to demonstrate something pretty well. Okay, so are both AFVs in his line of sight? And basically, the answer to that question is yes for one, and I'm tracing the line of sight to the covered arc focal point, which is at Q6, P6, Q7. And the other one is from T7 to Q7. So This tank, let's put A and B. Where's the label? A and label B. Tank A is not in his line of sight at all because his line of sight touches the woods, and he has to trace his line of sight to the center dot for tank A, but not to tank B because tank B's focal cover point is in his line of sight. Now, I'm not sure if you would have to change his turret covered arc to be able to see him, but look, I'm not an expert in this, but uh, the key concept here is the turret covered arc focal point for vehicular units are stationary vehicular bypass. Whereas opposed to this unit, who is not, has a broader front facing because fire coming along this hex side and this hex side is still frontal. But in being in bypass here, his frontal covered arc has narrowed and his side covered arc has expanded, which means that, let's take a look and see. From here to there, it touches the woods, but from here to there, it is a side shot. Okay? And that's how the cookie crumbles. So you have to be careful with vehicular bypass because in this case as well, I believe the shot would be a side shot, whereas a unit that was firing from here may conceivably still only have a frontal facing here. Not too sure about that one. Let's take a look. Would be a side shot, front shot as well. So that's D2.32 vehicular covered arc and covered arc focal point. You need to be careful about your covered arc focal point when in stationary vehicular bypass. Awesome so far. I think I got a headache. Hey, Barrack, how you doing? Barrack?
Shit's getting way too complicated for me.
Pardon, Barrack, I didn't hear you.
Shit's getting way too complicated for me.
Barrack, it's a family-friendly channel, for crying out loud. Anyway, Barrack is interested in learning how to play Advanced Squad Leader. That's why he's with me today. He's a very well-behaved young man. Gentlemen. Okay. Another little thingy-majiggy that I should have known right off the bat. Or I wish I knew from the get-go. Okay, here we got Dotsky. Dotsky is aiming at Steiner. Steiner's aiming at Dotsky. Who else would they be aiming at? The deer in the woods? The flying geese? They're aiming at each other. Rather than trying to put some dinner on the table like they're supposed to be. Go figure it out. Now, this fellow's in crest. Now, forgive me if I got the crest status wrong here. I always get confused with the bars and the arrows and whatnot. Dotsky's aiming at Steiner. Steiner's aiming at Dotsky. Que sera, sera. Here, let's figure out how much firepower each unit has, each opponent has against the other. Steiner, he has a 4.67, range of 6. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hexes away. So everything would be halved. 7 halved is 3.5 would go down to the 2 table, -1. How about Dotsky? How much firepower is he going to fire back at Steiner? He's 9 hexes away, so the inherent firepower does not reach. He is in crest mode. He has a medium machine gun. So you're guessing a full 4, right? Wrong. So Steiner has a 2-1. Let's take that shot for the shits and giggles. 9. I've never rolled so high before in my life. I don't know what's going on with me. I need tea. So the 2 was ineffective, and he doesn't have fire back. And why would you say he doesn't have fire back? Because of Bravo 20.95. So support weapons for infantry in crush status. They can only fire or are limited to light machine guns, demolition charges, light anti-tank weapons, flamethrowers, inherent support weapons. And then to boot, any unpossessed support weapons previously in crush status, they fall into the depression hex, which means that if this dude here technically is open ground, if he breaks and he has to route either to the building or to the woods, because technically this is in open ground, this baby falls, it's 5 portage points, into the ditch, and while this guy, oops, he's off board, he either tries to route to there or to here. And if Dotsky doesn't want to go along with the unit, he cannot recover. Maybe he can technically recover the the um, the support weapon, but it's no longer in crash status. It's in the ditch. Technically, he could opt to stay there and try to grab the ditch. Sorry, try to grab the MG before it falls into the ditch under 4.44 because it's an immediate action. He grabbed it. There you go. Otherwise, he would have fallen into the ditch. If I'm wrong, remember A.2. So let's do a little short recap. First and foremost, dot 2 errors. Okay. In each chapter has dot rules. Those are little rules that you really need to interpret well, read carefully, and recall because they kind of cover the context of the chapter. They frame the overall chapter, the context of the chapter, I think. Then A7212, the sleaze freeze or target selection limits, as we all know now. A7.4, target determination, so you know exactly when you are firing on your units as well as your enemy, as opposed to only the enemy units. Then D3 2.32, I'm sure there's a lot of literature written on that one, and the important point there is the difference between a regular covered arc and a covered arc focal point. I think I gave you some good pointers there. And then a little trivial thingamajiggy in chapter B, B20.95, support weapons for infantry and crush status. There's a whole slew of rules in chapter B for the ordinary terrain on these geomorphic map boards and how it pertains to how they affect combat. And it can be the difference between a KIA and a morale check or a PTC if you don't know how to interpret it. It can cost you the game as well. It can cost you the game as well. And I've seen that happen, unfortunately or fortunately. So that was my little snippet of rules for today. And I'd like to thank Barrack for stopping by. Barrack, are there any final words, things that you'd like to share with the audience about your life and or whatnot? Rather short type of snippet. What do you think, buddy?
After 13 years of marriage, I found myself to be fully domesticated, soft, and helpless.
Well, there you have it, folks. I hope Barack's journey with Advanced Squadron may help him um, become less domesticated and more healing and helpful to himself. But yeah, I guess 13 years of marriage can do that to you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it empowers you more. I don't know. Um, but thanks for sharing with that thought with us, Barack. It was really helpful. Um, yeah. So that's my little 2 cents, and I'd like to thank again, from the bottom of my heart, all the viewers. The channel again has grown, much to my surprise. I mean, I keep thinking that we've plateaued, right? And week after week, it's growing, and I know it's because of you guys out there. You are recommending the channel to other people and hitting the like and subscribe button, and I greatly appreciate your help out there. I'd like to give a shout out to Colonel Dan from No Enemies Here, and Artie, who is always presenting something informative about the wargaming. Both of them are presenting something informative about the wargaming hobby uh, here and in across the pond and everywhere in the world. Um, Colonel Dan, swell, cute, handsome guy, the most cute and pause, no homo. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Nice fellow, down to earth, very friendly. So is Artie. Yeah, I stopped by their channel a couple of weeks ago, and if time permits, I enjoy the conversation and banter and the news and the insights that they offer about the wargaming world. It's pretty good. On Sunday morning, actually Saturday morning with my coffee. I'm publishing my video, but at the same time, I'm looking at Dance Channel or something from Artie, drinking my coffee, and if it's too long, double speed. Yeah. I hope you also enjoyed my other video on my other hobby, which is building models, and I like flying things as well. And this is a like a DLG foam glider, and to balance it, what I put here is I put two nickels or a dime here and there, but it doesn't show. It's like embedded in the foam, right? And I've redone this. I've dry glued it here with tape, but eventually I'll put uh, I'll take the glue gun to it and stick it up, and it flies pretty well, much to my surprise. And here's a C-47, and the masking tape here is because I got to balance this thing so it can fly well. Um, I am planning to do a couple of more foam gliders here and maybe share the plans with you somewheres. We'll see. That's besides the wargaming hobby that I have. Important thing is to have fun. Um, have a great balance in life with between play and work and and family. And again, thanks for being around, guys. And I wish everybody good health and best of luck and a good time. Any final words from you, Barack, buddy?
Bye.
So long, guys. Until we meet again. Take care.